Welcome, my name is Colleen Tauke and I'm a sewing specialist here at Fons & Porter. In this Quilting Quickly tutorial, I'm going to show you how to put together the quilt called Summertime Blues. If you'd like to purchase this pattern, please visit our website. You can see a portion of the quilt behind me, and as I'm working on it, I want to help you work through those pieces and all the techniques it takes to put this quilt top together. So we're going to be working with 2.5-inch pre-cut strips. We've got a wonderful collection of blue batiks here. This can be interpreted into any color combination that you select, and we've got an accent of red, as you can see, kind of an Irish chain effect running through it, and then we've got a ground of a light blue-gray batik, so that all the colors just kind of jump off of the quilt at us. So I'm going to put those off to the side. You're going to be using those 2.5-inch strips, and we're going to be creating various components. So we're going to use a background. The first thing that the instructions have you do is take the background fabric, which you're going to cut your own 2.5-inch strips from, and your accent, which in this case is a red, and we're putting them right sides together and creating a strip set. So then you want to make sure that when you're done, you go in and press. I'm just going to use my finger here for time's sake, and you're going to be cutting off units, 2.5-inch units, to make your 4 patches. So you're going to make a whole variety of those. We're actually using only one red throughout this example, but because it's a batik and the color changes, each of the 4 patches kind of has their own flavor. So we're going to be making those 4 patches. The part that I really want to get to is showing you how to cut the triangles, because we're using a variety of those blues for the triangles and letting it be kind of scrappy. We're going to be using a special tool, and it's called the Easy Angle. It is set up so that it has a point on this end that's black. This side has a blunted end, and it allows us to easily cut pieces off a 2.5-inch strip, triangles that we can then make into squares. So what I'm going to do is just show you real quickly how this tool can efficiently cut pieces for you. And you'll follow your instructions for the number, quantity of each of the different prints and variety. If you're adapting it, you'll have to figure a little on your own. But what we're going to be doing is cutting those pieces off. I'm going to work on the end that's actually a selvage edge, so we're going to overcut that first one so we can take away some of that the selvage. On batiks, you don't have very much to deal with when it comes to a white left behind, because the print is run all the way out. But in this case, we're going to be cutting off a 2.5-inch strip. We're going to let that black triangle extend off the end of the strip, and it should line up right along the top of your strip. Now, one thing to be aware of is that making sure that your 2.5-inch strip is actually a very accurate 2.5-inch strip so that you can cut properly. I'm going to rotate this and go back and cut. Remember, I was overcutting that end, so I need to reposition my tool so I can cut away that piece that contains the selvage. Now I can go back and forth. This tool works really well because then I have a straight edge here that I know is at a right angle, so then I can slide my tool in, align again with the 2.5-inch. It tells me which size my strip was, correct. Come up, leave that black triangle, fly off the end, cut a second piece, and I can just keep going like that down the strip, cutting the pieces that I need for my triangle squares later. Like this. So I've cut a whole bunch of pieces ahead here so I could create then those blocks that will go into the second unit in this, or the second pieces that go into this. I'll show you what we're going for. We're trying to create this portion of the block. And like I said, they're scrappy, so we've cut a lot of different blues, and we've cut the same pieces out of your light background fabric and some squares also. So now we're going to assemble this block. It's kind of fun once you get all the pieces cut that you can start designing out of your stack and start to see the block come to life. I'll use one of those bright blues. The fun part about this package of blues is that there are navies, there was turquoises, and so the block can really vary from piece to piece, kind of lets your eye dance through the quilt. And you can see here, let's flip this one over here. Nice thing about batiks is that there's really not a right or a wrong side to them. So when it comes to putting them together, then I can put these together and see that I have the blunt end here and the tips match here, and I would seam 1/4 inch there. Press it open. Do the same thing on the other block. Then create rows and then join the rows to make my blocks. Once you've got these blocks constructed and your 4 patches constructed, or these units, then you can start to construct the blocks that go into the quilt. Now let me isolate it really quick because it looks like the block is actually bigger than that little piece. The block itself is right here. The sashing is what creates almost a secondary, actually a stronger block. It looks like this is the block in the end, but it's actually here as a block. The sashing is perfectly placed so that there's a red cornerstone and a blue cornerstone that give you a completely different look in the end. It's a fun part of this design. So your block is consists of the red 4 patches, makes a strong diagonal line. And then these pieces with your navy, and the heavy navy squares are on the outside. So it's all about the placement in this quilt. Once you've got those blocks constructed, you're going to be adding, like I said, that sashing. There's sashing bars here to let that float. The indicator so you know where your red and blue cornerstones go is, remember, that strong red line goes here. Navy blue would go here. Now, once you've got the entire center of your quilt constructed, this quilt has one more element that you don't see behind me, but is published in the magazine. And that is, it has a pieced border. It actually has an inner border first of a bright red. So there's a bright red that goes here and one here for a great accent. Let's move these out of the way. Then there's a pieced border. With all those 2.5 inch strips that you have, you get to use all of them up. It has you cut rectangles so that you can create an outer border that lets all those colors float also. The work surface here is just a little bit small to try and lay everything out. We'll do the best we can. Now, the diagrams in the magazine, you will see that it has you construct strips that are longer than the actual quilt top because this corner is mitered, which means, if I pull this up, in the end, your corners should look like somewhat like this. Now, a design decision. If you don't want to do mitered corners, you do not have to. These are only suggestions. It would take me too long here to step you through how to do mitered corners, but if you visit our website and look in the Sew Easy section, Sew Easy means it's a technique that we can show you how to sew, S-E-W, quickly. You can go in there and there is a tutorial on mitered borders and corners there. You will also see that the quilt in the end has a rippled outside edge. If you'd like to do those scalloped or wavy edge cuts, there's also a Sew Easy that will teach you how to do that. You can gain a lot of skills in this quilt, so if you'd like to make summertime blues, have at it. If you'd like to see more of our Quilting Quickly tutorials, please visit our website. Thanks for joining me today.